Okay, I'm back recording a video on the Lyman Case Trim Express. This is going to be a bit awkward because I've got the camera set up in between me and it. I need to sort of push in here to get the cases to feed. Let's get trimming cases. I've already trimmed some before I started the video on another box of 2506 brass. And I've taken photos of this cutter dial moving as you progress trimming cases. Like the more you do, the more it moves. And it's not a flaw with this unit. I think it's just part of the design of where you're pushing on the cutter head, and thus it pushes this in so that you're getting more cut. So you just got to keep an eye on the witness mark within this little window, the adjustment window, and as that mark moves or moves out of the window, you have to move it back. That's the only thing that I've found with it so far. It's much faster than the Lee cutter and lock stud, and it's faster than the Forster trimmer. The only problem with it so far is that little dial moves, and I can't do 4570 or 300 normal brass on it. Get trimming to this and we'll see how quick we can do something. As you can see, it's got a bit of bite as you engage the cutter. It doesn't help having this container here where it is, because it's in the way of my hand. Being able to really grab a hold of the case head, I'm sort of having to grab the case head awkwardly like this rather than like that. But as you can see, it's very quick to trim. This brass is all once fired brass. It was trimmed before its first firing. So it'll be interesting. I took some measurements on it earlier. There's no point really sharing the measurements. What you'd be more interested on is the consistency of the cut from case to case, which after I'm done I'll give you a measurement. I can already see this little witness mark in the adjustment window moving, and I'm not even done 15 cases. But it's a very simple process of just centering that in the window again. Then you continue on. Like I said, this is my new favourite trimming method. It's so much faster than doing it with the Lee cutter and lock stud, which is how I did it for, what, 16 or more years of reloading. And I've very quickly progressed after probably the first year of using the Lee cutter and lock stud to putting the lock stud in a drill and just having the cutter in my hand. And this still beats it because you're not having to lock the case head into basically a shell holder of any kind. Keep an eye on that adjustment again. In the previous lot of 50 cases that I trimmed, I had some fired brass that hadn't been sized again yet. I basically loaded these 5 cases to check for velocity consistency, and I tried running them through here, and they're a very tight fit in this, basically the collet which stops against the shoulder of the case, which is what really gives you the trim to length along with the cutter adjustment. That collet holds the case in place and then you adjust the cutter to it, but those fired cases, having been blown out in the chamber, they were really tight in there. Obviously you want to trim after full length sizing anyway, because that's when you're going to get the case stretch is on its way back out the die. Now I completely watched that mark disappear from the window, so I have to put it back in. I have previously taken measurements myself off camera for this. No, within, I believe, I never recorded the measurements, but I think off the top of my head they were within half a thou, but I don't have the best set of calipers. They're just a cheap set from basically a local automotive shop, so you probably can't even measure that, but they'd be within a thousandths. easily. And this was 49 cases in however many minutes that was as you were watching. Now, let's get these out. Already zeroed. I'm only going to take 1 or 2 measurements here. 2.4785. 2.478. 2.478. Just randomly grabbing these out of the container. 2.4785. And one more to make it an even 5. Not an even, but 2.4905. Okay, that one's a bit long. I'm going to run that through the trimmer again and see if we actually get any cut. If it doesn't, it could be a difference between the shoulder bump on the cases. Yeah, maybe I just didn't push that one in hard enough. This spring that's in between the collet retainer and the collet and the body of the cutter, it's actually quite hard to compress. Like I said, having this here where my hand has to be to push makes it really hard. Normally I wouldn't even have it up on a block of wood, I'd just have it set on the edge of the bench, and it's much easier to push in, and you can really feel that spring compress against the cutter then, or against the body of the thing. Yeah, 2.477. So after that, we've got about 1.5 thou of difference between them. So that's good enough for me. I'd use that for target rounds, use that for everything. Okay, that was a quick look at the Lyman Case-Trim Express. I personally recommend it, so long as you keep an eye on this adjustment in the cutter window. Some of that 1.5 thou, that could have been as that was moving as well, just a very slight difference in them. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little look at the Lyman Case-Trim Express. I'll catch you in the next video, which could be quite a while. The next one might be as I move from dry tumbling to wet tumbling. I might do a video on that and what I do depending on the results that I get. So I'll catch you then if I end up doing that.